Hello, welcome to Ginny's Gin live stream. It is Memorial Day weekend, and happy Memorial Day weekend to everybody. The sun is shining here in Sonoma County in California, and the peaches, the early peaches are just spectacular. So when Rob went into the store and he smelt that wonderful aroma, they were just begging to be in our cocktails today. I'm going to make the first cocktail, and then Rob's going to jump in with a cameo performance and make a different cocktail. So you've probably all heard of Harry's Bar in Venice. Well, I'm going to make our take, a Ginny's Gin take on the Bellini. So the owner and lead bartender at Harry's Bar, his name was Giuseppe Cipriani. Cipriani. Anyway, so there are abundant peaches in Italy through June through September, and he wanted to be able to have this wonderful aroma in one of his cocktails. And the other local thing that they had was their local sparkling wine, which is Prosecco, and Prosecco is actually produced about an hour from Venice in that region. So he combined the two, and of course the Bellini has become very famous. The pinkish color, he always used white peaches, and the pinkish color that it produces in the cocktail reminded him of some artwork by the Renaissance Italian painter. His name was Giovanni Bellini, and that's where the name came from. So, it became their sort of their specialty, during that season. And Ernest Hemingway and Orson Welles and Alfred Hitchcock, they were regulars there, and of course I'm sure they enjoyed that too. So that's a little bit of history about the Bellini cocktail. I also have my own little bit of Bellini history as well. So fresh out of college, I actually got myself a job crewing on a 160-foot private yacht. It was based in the Mediterranean for the summer, and the name of the yacht was Fantasia. In fact, there's a picture of it right there. You can see the Fantasia yacht. And so we started out in Antibes in the Côte d'Azur, and that was the beginning of the 6-month adventure. And we went in the Mediterranean, we cruised in the Mediterranean seas, the Ionian, the Aegean, and then finally we cruised up through the Adriatic. And then at the north end, we ended up in Venice, and we cruise in, and there is this most amazing mooring, which is spectacular, and it is right across from St. Mark's. So that's where we stayed for a couple of weeks. The owners had to leave and go back to America for some functions, and so we, the crew, were left there to enjoy Venice. This was a few decades ago, but of course Harry's Bar was one of the stops. The cocktail itself, super simple, very refreshing. I really enjoy the cocktail by itself, but when you add in the gin, it just gives it a little extra something else. The citrus in our gin pairs really nicely with the peach, so I think you're going to really like this one. Now, we have used white peaches, and they are fresh. So the thing is, good peaches equal a good cocktail. So if you don't have good peaches, it's not going to make a great cocktail. It would be better if it's out of season, for instance, to use frozen peaches, or you can even use a peach puree, the Perfect Puree of Napa Valley. They do a really good puree. So, but we always like to use ingredients that are in season, so that's why we've got these peaches. So what I did was, I took one peach and I peeled it, obviously took the stone out as well, and I pureed it with one of these things, and I pureed the one peach with 2 ounces of Ginny's Gin. Now be careful that it doesn't, you have to put it in the fridge or use it immediately because it will turn brown. So be careful with that. I just popped mine in the fridge and it's a pink color, but you could also add a little ascorbic acid. If you couldn't use it right away, the ascorbic acid will stop it from turning a brown color, correct? Yeah.
Vitamin C.
Yeah, vitamin C, that's right. I have this beautiful glass, also from Italy. It doesn't matter, you can do it in tall glasses. I've seen them in Tom Collins glasses even as well. Generally the ratio is 1 part of the Ginny's Gin puree, peach puree, to 2 parts of the sparkling wine. I am using Prosecco because I'm going the Italian route. But we have some beautiful sparkling wines also, obviously in Sonoma County too. So your choice. And if you have a friend that makes sparkling wine, use theirs, right? Okay, so very simple. Here we go. The other thing too is that you want everything to be cold. So normally we keep our glassware in the freezer. If you're having friends over and there's 4 of you, put the 4 glasses in the freezer. The other thing you can do is actually just put an ice cube and swirl it around so that it gets cold, and then dump the ice. All right, so let's do this. These are just little mason jars, super cute. In fact, and when I remembered about these little mason jars that I have, this is actually really cute. You could make it one cocktail in there. It makes a super cute little brunchy thing. So here's the puree and the Ginny's gin. We're just going to pour it into the bottom like that. And we want about that much is about right. This is going to make about 2 cocktails, so that you've got 1 part of this to 2 parts of the sparkling wine. Be careful with the sparkling wine because it does want to froth up. So I'm just going to use the back of this to... And then the other thing is don't stir it up too much, because what will happen is you'll lose all the effervescence. You want all those bubbles, obviously. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a stir, so that I'm just sort of going to fold it in there. There it goes.
It really reacts with the solids in the peach
Yes.
puree, doesn't it?
Yeah. A little bit more of that. There we go.
It's good.
Looks good. There's a little bit in the bottom
Okay.
there. All good. All right, and then a nice little peach slice as your garnish. There we go. Perfect, and just what a great cocktail for the holiday weekend. There you are. There's the Ginny's Gin Bellini. Enjoy. Oh, and I'm wearing some Italian jewelry by Angela Caputi as well. So we're really doing a big Italian thing today. So Rob now is going to join me, and he's going to make another beautiful cocktail with Ginny's gin and some fresh peaches. And he's actually using yellow peaches. Put that off to the side. I might add some more champagne.
Hey, where's my roasted peach?
Welcome, Rob.
It's right there.
Okay. Do this.
Okay. Hi, everybody. So, yeah, I went into the store earlier this week thinking about, like, what's the right... And whenever you go in the store and you have a, a particular cocktail in mind, they end up not having the best ingredients of that cocktail. So a lot of times I like to go to the store, see what's fresh. I went in and, man, the first thing I got was this huge waft of these beautiful little ripe yellow peaches. So, anyway, so what I did was I cut them in half, the peaches, and then I roasted them in the oven for 350 degrees for about 25 minutes. And not to really caramelize them, but just to kind of dehydrate them a little bit so that it's more concentrated. And I'll just kind of show you how I did it. So what I did was I took a mason's jar, because it just happens to, and after it's roasted, the skin peeled right off. So now there's no skin. So in it goes. And then I tried it with like 5 basil leaves, and I thought it was too much, but just a little bit of basil, like 2 leaves. And then now the right amount of gin would be 2 ounces, but I go like 2 1/4, because you lose a little bit in the puree. Yeah. What the heck, right?
It smells good with the basil.
Yeah. Yeah, the basil and the peach are both so like springtime aromatic. So then, and now a lot of people just would muddle this, and but when you're muddling peach and there's all that kind of pulp, it's really hard to push through a small strainer and pretty awkward. So just imagine if you were doing a bigger batch, you'd just take a blender, throw 8 peaches in there and 16 ounces of gin and give it a blast with the immersion. In our house, we call these the but it's actually an immersion blender, and just a couple of pulses. And I really like doing it this way instead of muddling, because you get a lot more out of your herbs and fruit. And so there you go. Didn't have a place to put a dirty thing. And then of our mason jars.
You've got to love mason jars for cocktail making.
Through the strainer.
Do you want to use the bar spoon?
And then what I do is then I just take a spoon and I work it in. And so I just kind of wanted to show you that. And I've already prepared one just before the tasting where this is the basil, the gin, and the whole roasted peach that's been skinned. And so to make the cocktail, we get our shaker cup out and we put the 1 roasted peach along with the 2 1/4 ounces of gin into the tin. And then the first time I did it, I just did it with orgeat, which is a nut syrup and a little bit of lemon juice. But I found it just a little bit heavy, so I've kind of added about 3/4 ounce of Lillet, which is a wine product from just south of Bordeaux. And then we're gonna take one of the lemons from our tree.
The aroma is amazing. Peach,
Yeah, the lemon, all of
and
it.
the basil and the lemon. Oh, it's so good.
Okay, and so I'm shooting for 1 ounce of lemon juice, which is gonna take both of these little guys. Right there, ounce of lemon juice, the gin, the roasted peach, the Lillet Blanc, and then the piece de la resistance. I don't know, I was in the grocery store and I saw these cashews. I just love cashews. And then that night is when I decided to make this drink and I thought it would give some interest to it. So I made a orgeat syrup, but I made it out of cashew. And so
it's almond.
Yeah, but cashews have an affinity for peaches, and there's a lot of like pies and cakes and stuff where they do that. So about the same amount as the lemon juice, about 3/4 ounce.
I saw a little tip in that bit.
Boy. Then we'll use our handy tongs and we'll grab the 2 small ice cubes, 1 large, and then
Your skin covered tongs?
just because I really love a little bit of saline solution, or just you could just do a pinch of salt just to kind of balance it. And that is the drink. So everything is in the pool.
Okay.
So we've already buzzed it with the basil. Good.
Good.
I haven't had a haircut in 2 months, so you kind of want.
No haircut and no dye. No blonde. Okay. We keep our shakers in the freezer as well, so that everything's super cold. Nice.
Wow, you just smell the peach smell especially. And then I dehydrated some little pieces of some small slices of peach. So just for garnish, one of those little, of course I dropped it in and it almost sunk on me. There we go. Peach.
Little basil.
Fresh basil from our garden. And then out of the garden, we have nasturtium's flowers now, and that just looks
That's great.
pretty.
Here
So
we go.
there you go.
What are you calling it, Rob?
So Ginny's peach
There we go.
peach basil smash.
Okay, awesome. Happy Memorial Day weekend, everybody. I hope you all have fun and stay safe and healthy. And sounds like I've already been drinking, doesn't it? But let's have a cheers. Maybe I need one. Cheers to everybody.
Cheers.
See you next week, Saturday at 5. Bye.
Wow, really good now.
Delish. I want to try yours too.
Cheers. That's it.
Cheers.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna turn it up. If I know how to do that. I don't know how to do it. How do you stop
That's
it?
a good drink. I don't know. You have to call the teenager in.